right, so let's stand up. Let's sing this one. I love myself so much. I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much that you can start loving me. Got it? I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much that you can start loving me. Alright, so there's another part to this, right? It's for people who can sing up high or kind of want to not sing as much. You echo so much after each line. I'll explain it. I'll demonstrate it. Let's try it. Here we go. I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much that you can start loving me. Here we go. I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much that you can start loving me. One more, here we go. I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much that you can start loving me.
Thank you, Michael and the band, and everyone for getting us in the spirit and ready to start our morning. It's good to share music that lifts the spirit and it unites our energies. Good morning and welcome to the Centers for Spiritual Living Tucson. My name's Morgana. I'm your host this morning. After that uplift, let's take a moment just to inhale. Bring in peace, hold, let go of tension. Settle into our space, letting it out. We are all a unique expression of the divine source, the one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect, and it is ours right now. If you are setting an intention to experience a happier life, better health, more abundant living, you are in the right place. Know that wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. You are among friends. Okay, good morning, everyone. We're going to check our devices, make sure they're on silent, ignore, dead, whatever it takes to let the outer world remain outer. As many of you recall, the meditation is before service at 9:30 in room 3. And if there's anyone else who would like to sign up to be a meditation leader, sign-up's on the back table. I hope everyone's got their bulletins, and if not, those are on the back table as well, back with music. We're just going to do a quick reminder. We've got this afternoon the Intention Keepers group via Zoom. The link is on the newsletter and the bulletin. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to have LGBTQ plus friends for coffee before service. Also, quickly, it's not in the bulletin, but a group of us have begun meeting after service on Sundays at the River Whole Foods, because they've got a great snack bar and wonderful produce, anything you want to snack on, soups and all kinds of great dishes. So as time goes on, we might formalize it, give it a name, but it's just if we feel like gathering, usually we discuss it after service. Okay. So let's move on to the next thing. At the front of your bulletin, we'll read together the spiritual alternative. The Center for Spiritual Living Tucson is an inclusive, vibrant spiritual community focusing on personal connections through our beliefs, principles, and practices of science mind.
So this morning, I thought for Easter it would be nice to do a candle lighting ceremony, and we have 3 candles here, so I asked Google AI, write me a candle lighting ceremony for Centers for Spiritual Living. So that's how impromptu this is. So in honor of Easter, we're going to light these candles. These candles honor the divine trinity of our being, light, love, and life. We recognize the light of wisdom, of infinite wisdom that guides every thought. And I'm going to read an affirmation. I'm going to ask that you join me after. I am guided by the inner light of truth.
I am guided by the inner light of truth.
The second candle, we recognize the love that is the creative law, harmonizing all things. And the affirmation, I am an instrument of divine love in action.
I am an instrument of divine love in action.
And the third candle, we recognize the life that is the physical expression of spirit made manifest. And the affirmation, I am the vibrant, joyful expression of living spirit.
I am the vibrant, joyful expression
of living spirit. So it is.
So it is. So it's April. And I was trying to come up with a good song for today that both met with our spiritual thoughts, affirmations, and the fact that it's April. And there's a song by Simon and Garfunkel that I hadn't heard, even though my mother was a huge Simon and Garfunkel fan. The 8 tracks she owned didn't include this song, so I'd never heard them. But almost 30 years ago, a friend of mine named Chrissy, we worked at a health food store together, and she made me a cassette tape. A mixtape. How many mixtapes? Come on.
Yes.
Right, come on. Cassette tapes. And on that cassette tape, there were songs by Bob Dylan, the Talking Heads, the Violent Femmes, and this song. And there was nothing on the cassette tape to tell me who it was or what it was. And then years later, I heard it again. And I talked to Chris about this when we saw it. And I was like, this goes through the months. But it's called April Come She Will. April, come she will, when streams arrive and swell with rain. April, she will stay, resting in my arms again. She'll change her tune. In restless walks she'll prowl the night. July, she will fly and give no warning to her flight. August, die she must. The autumn winds blow chilly and cold. September, I'll remember. Love wants to pass down the road. Green brook, come she will. When streams are ripe and swell with rain, there she will stay, resting in my arms again. June, change her tune. In restless walks, she'll prowl the night. July, she will fly and give no warning to her flight. August, die she must. The autumn wind will blow chilly and cold. September, I'll remember. Love once new has now grown.
Good morning. Happy Easter, everybody. We're going to have a 3-minute meditation, and Chris is going to ring the bell, and I'll come back and do a prayer. Join me for the invocation prayer. Mother, Father, God, On this Easter Sunday, we are reminded how grateful we are to embody the Christ consciousness within us. I know, and I are having your being as me. This divine infinite mind is having its being as each and every one of us. Just know that we are blessed beyond our imagination. I just invoke the prayer of peace, of Easter, Christ consciousness within us. We always forgive, we always love, we always help, we're always available. The presence of God to be shown to us. So on this Easter Sunday, just grateful to be here, grateful we have each other. It's this prayer and the action of the law, saying so it is. So now we have the spiritual program. I'm going to read the spiritual thought, then I'll read the affirmation, we'll do it together. It is in the ecstasy of pure love that we arrive at a true fulfillment of the First Commandment. Loving God with our whole heart, our whole mind, with all our strength. Therefore, it is something that all who desire to please God ought to desire. Not for a minute, not for half an hour, but forever. It is in these souls that peace is established in the world. It's from Thomas Merton, Seeds of Contemplation. So the affirmation, I'm going to read it first and we'll read it together. I grow and evolve through the love I share, embracing each moment with gratitude. Together, I grow and evolve through the love I share, embracing each moment with gratitude.
Spirit is in this place is a song that we've sung as a gathering song, as an opening song. But I also thought it was a good first song for April here. So, last time we played this, we were over in the main sanctuary, and we had a band. Chris was playing the drums, James was on bass, I was playing guitars through amplifiers. It was very loud and big. And so my request last time was to hear a shout of praise, and we could barely hear it up on the stage. Even though I know that people were like, ah! They were shouting, they were trying. You were trying. I saw it. I saw it in the eyes. Like, I saw ferocity. So there's a line in the chorus that says, raise the roof with shouts of praise. All right? That's your cue to shout something. I don't really care what it is. Just find it in your guts to make a loud noise. So we're gonna practice, okay? I'll count to 3, and we're just gonna make a loud sound. All right, short, boom, like one of those. Like, ah! All right, 1, 2, 3. Hi! Okay, let's do one more. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. So now when I'm singing it, it's gonna sing like. Raise the roof with shouts of praise. Yeah! Spirit's in this place. We have come together as a family. We have come here as we are. Have come with arms wide open. We have gathered here in love. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. shout the praise. Spirits in this place. Yeah. We sing in celebration. We sing with word prayer. Turn all life as sacred. Declare that peace is here. Peace is here, yeah. Spirit is in this. Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this. Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this. Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof with shouts of praise. Spirit's in this place. Spirit is in this. Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this. Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this. Spirit is in this place. Raise the roof and shout the praise. Spirit's in this place. All right. Thank you. I heard it.
That definitely raised our vibration.
Hopefully I don't bring it all back down again. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Easter. I'm going to put this part over there. So, welcome. Obviously, none of you have family making demands on you because you are here. So, and I'm glad you're here. Welcome. So we're entering, as Michael has pointed out several times, a new month. April's theme is the practice of becoming. And I'm reminded of Michelle Obama's book titled Becoming. And if you haven't read it, it's a wonderful journey. And, you know, it just reminds me that, you know, she just wasn't all of a sudden the first lady of the United States. You know, she was a child and she had her, you know, went through law school and met Barack Obama and fell in love and had babies and, you know, this whole life. And so it's a story of becoming. And that's what we're all doing. You know, we all are consistently and continuously becoming the next greater expression of God as us, right? So I like to think of it as a journey, not the destination, right? So today's topic, and Ruth actually suggested this. This was in CSL. It's going to be in week 4 if you're following along in the magazine. But we thought for Easter it was more appropriate that we move love as a daily commitment to Easter Sunday. And the topic asks, what if love were not a fleeting feeling, but a daily practice that reveals who we truly are? And then it asks us, how much do we practice love as a sacred path to our divine revelation? So as we celebrate Easter, we're celebrating the teaching of Christ, Jesus. And his teaching is all based on love and inclusion. And his first commandment, he takes the 10 commandments and says, no, there's only 2. Love God with all your heart, mind, and I like to say soul. In the reading, it was strength. Love God with all your being. And the second commandment is love one another. We don't need all the rest if we follow that. We don't need all those thou shalt nots, right? It's just simple and affirmative. And so we ask, how do we love God with all our mind, heart, and soul? Well, the soul is we are love. We are that. And we forget that. But our science of mind teaches that love is a universal principle. And that love is the outpouring of the universal spirit through its desire to express itself as creation. Love is the impulse, and law is the form the creation takes. So our nature is to be love. So I brought the books that I've been using this week, and Love Poems from God has various authors going from St. Francis of Assisi is the second one, and his dates are 1182 to 1226. And we're all familiar with the St. Francis prayer. And I was going to end with that, but I changed my mind again this morning. But what I am using from this book is a small poem that he wrote. It was easy to love God in all that was beautiful. The lessons of deeper knowledge, though, instructed me to embrace God in all things. And so, as I've been thinking about this and God in all things and love as a divine practice, many of you know that Bhagavad Gita is one of my favorite books. It is my go-to spiritual book. I go to that before the Bible, before the Quran, before I pick up any book. That's my favorite. And the second book that I brought is Eknath Easwaran's A More Ardent Fire. And this book talks about chapter 12 in the Bhagavad Gita. And I just pulled out the 4 different versions that I have in my home. Easwaran calls it the yoga of devotion, or yoga as practice. Another author calls it devotional service. Actually, Easwaran calls it the way of love. Another calls it yoga practice of devotion, devotional service, and Paramahansa Yogananda calls it union through devotion. And the whole chapter is about how to love God, how to have a spiritual practice based in love to know God as ourselves. And so at the beginning, the first verse is Arjuna asking Krishna, who Arjuna is our hero. He's on the battlefield questioning everything. And we get to chapter 12, and he's got some instruction. And by now he's understanding that his friend and chariot driver, Krishna, is actually the god of love. And so Arjuna asks Krishna, which is better for knowing you, the god of love or knowledge? And Krishna said knowledge is good, but it's really only good if you live it, which really appeals to our science of mind philosophy, right? We love our books, we love our classes, we get really into the learning aspect of what science of mind is all about. But Krishna also says the path of knowing is difficult. It's difficult to overcome because we often get stuck in what we think we know, right? We get an idea and we think we know something, and we close our mind to any new ideas. And our theme this year is open at the top. So, how do we stay open in this knowledge-based seeking of God? And Krishna also says, are you experiencing love? Are you experiencing God in this, seeking for knowledge? So he says that the practice of devotion is actually better. Not having to know things and not having to figure it out. And this is the practice of moving into our heart. Moving from loving God with all our mind to loving God with all our heart. And Krishna says devotion to this unknowable, God, that we can't even comprehend. The all that is, getting out of, God, the old man on the throne, and moving beyond this image. Krishna does say it is helpful to have these images of God. And in Hindu tradition, there are many levels of God. And Krishna is an avatar of God. Jesus was an avatar of God. And so it helps us to recognize God. And what I like to think of, recognize God in each other. Right? So the part 2, verses 6 through 10 of chapter 12, talks about how to practice devotion. And the first thing that Krishna says is meditation is really good, is to be quiet, be silent, go within, and feel God within yourself, right? We start with ourselves, loving ourselves first. Then he says to dedicate all outcomes to God. So in whatever we're doing, we're dedicating this to God. And in the Muslim practice, You'll quite often hear people, I'm grateful for my garden. Praise be to Allah. So they're always thanking God for all of their blessings. There's always a praise be to Allah. And so God is always pulled into their practice. And the other way that Krishna says is be of service to others. And it's through this connection to others that we love God. And doesn't Jesus say that those that you have treated the least among you, you have loved me? And so it's not about loving, the right people. It's about loving all people. So Meister Eckhart, again taking from the book, has a poem called Love Does That. And I just love this little poem. All day long, a little burro labors, just with worries about things. Okay. Start over. All day long, a little burro labors, sometimes with heavy loads on her back, and sometimes just with worries about things that bother only burros. And worries, as we know, can be more exhausting than physical labor. Once in a while, a kind monk comes to her stable and brings a pear. But more than that, he looks into the burro's eyes and touches her ears. And for a few seconds, the burro is free and even seems to laugh. Because love does that. Love frees. So how often do we in our lives slow down to really see somebody, to really hear somebody? Just spending that time with no expectations. And as I was writing this yesterday, and I shared with a friend of mine on Friday, many of you know that I work for Intuit, and normally I'm in QuickBooks. And in about middle of February, I go to work one morning, and all of a sudden I'm in TurboTax. Now, I'm expecting to go TurboTax like next week. This is a normal thing that they pull us in. But no, they pulled a whole bunch of bookkeepers in to start doing TurboTax. And believe me, I was a little pissed. I'd gotten my routine of not having any phone calls and getting really bored to this environment where once I turn my phone on, the phone rings all day long. Oh. And so I had to, early on, I shifted my mindset. And the first call, I'm going to share 3 calls. The first call that helped me shift my mindset into really being of service and being with people was a woman that called, and she had been doged. And, she had been laid off with Elon Musk's clearing of the federal government at the beginning of last year. And she was unable to find a new job. And so because of that, she drew out of her 401k. And because she was not old enough, she got a penalty. And so now she owes a ton of taxes. And she was like, how do I, what can you do to help? So I was reviewing her taxes with her, and we were chatting and looking for anything that could maybe reduce her bill. And by the end of the call, I said, your story has touched me. And I just want to affirm something for you. I'm going to add you to my prayer list, but I'm going to affirm that 2026 is your year. That you are going to get the perfect job that feeds your soul and your bank account. That everything is going to work out for you beautifully. That everything is flowing and going your way. And she kind of surprised me by affirming and claiming my words as I accept that. I mean, powerful. I accept that in Jesus' name. Amen. She owned those words. I'll never see or hear from this woman again, but I like to think that she claimed that for herself, that 2026 is going to be my year. And so I, couldn't really help her with her tax bill, but the connection that we made fed me, and it helped me to really change my mindset. A couple weeks ago, I had a conversation with, she had said that she was an 88-year-old woman, lived in D.C., and I open up her looking at her tax screen, and she's got a rather large tax bill, one that takes my breath away. And she just wanted me to review things with her, make sure she did it right, because she's 88, and she's not used to doing this kind of computer stuff. And we go through, and it turns out she was fully expecting that bill. Not a problem to her. She had the money saved. She was good. So I said, would you like me to stay on all the way through the checkout process? She said, if you would. And so I did. And TurboTax is kind of a 3-step process. And we go all the way through. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you. I don't think I would have done it without you. Because there were spots where she was confused. And by the end, I have a standing invitation. She will give me a tour of DC, hopefully before it all gets torn down, she said. So we had a little chuckle together about that. Yeah, the East Wing's already gone. But, we had a connection, and I was able to help this woman and honor her. The last call I'd like to share is with a woman I just talked to on Friday. And she had called. And TurboTax she was stuck in a TurboTax software error. It was asking for information. Good morning. And so, and the information had to do specifically that she called about a 1099-R, which is a retirement. I'm just looking at Maria because she's like, yep, I know. Yeah. But it's a retirement statement you get for some distributions. So I have her run the error, and it turns out they're asking for something about a small business they opened, and we get those errors all fixed. And she says, well, I really want to talk about this retirement thing because it's an inheritance from my mother who passed in 2024. And then she proceeds to tell me how this passing has caused a rift between her and her sister, and that they are not talking anymore. And then she went on to tell me that her daughter, whose husband is in the military, is now moving to Alaska, and she boo-hoo, taking the grandkids with, and she boo-hoo sobbed, and she's telling me all this, and I get to listen. I just get to listen and be there for her and hold her and put on my practitioner hat. I'm at TurboTax, I'm helping people with taxes, and by the way, I took this call, my shift was over, and I said, I'm going to take one more call today. My shift was over, I took one more call, and this was my call. And by the end of that conversation, she did say that she has a counseling appointment the next week. Like, good. I'm glad you're getting support through this. And then she said there's a woman, because in the process I shared where I am with my mom, and she is beginning her transition. And it could be any day, it could be months. That's the way my mom's been doing this, for those of you familiar with her story. And I shared that, we are being, my siblings and I are being very transparent and being very open to make sure that nothing happens like that. And so in sharing that, the conversation ended with her saying, well, there's a woman in Texas praying for your mother and your family. And so, being there with someone else, that is loving God, showing up just in those simple moments. Who would have known that TurboTax could be so rewarding and such a place for me to show up as love? But what about those difficult people? We're living in difficult times. And so there's lots of opportunities to love the difficult people as well. Jesus reminds us to love our enemies as well as those that are easy to love. He reminds us that the sun shines and the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike, and that everyone in our teaching is a manifestation of God, whether they know it or not. It's our job to remember that. And so a friend reminded me the other day of Dalai Lama and his idea of sacred friends, right? And sacred friends are not only the people who comfort us, but they're also those people that challenge us. Those people that stretch our capacity to love beyond what is easy. It expands love from a preference to a practice. It moves us from comfort to consciousness, from feeling to a spiritual discipline. And it says that love is not proven by how we treat those who are easy to love, but by how we respond to those that are not. Those sacred friends, they reveal the edges of our love. They invite us into deeper expressions of compassion. And they transform love from an emotion to embodiment. And so from the Bhagavad Gita, notes from the Bhagavad Gita, verse 15. Says, those who serve both friend and foe with equal love, not buoyed up by praise or cast down by blame, alike in heat and cold, pleasure and pain, free from selfish attachment and self-will, ever full, in harmony everywhere, firm in faith, such as these are dear to me. So those of us that can love, that can be present in the good times and the bad times, those are the people that Krishna, that love embraces. And so as we look at that, it's really as we are open to being loved, love loves us. And again, I mentioned the St. Francis prayer, which is right here, for those not familiar. But what I'd like to talk about is the last poem that I pulled from the love poems to God is Tukaram, who his dates are 1608 to 1649, and the book is arranged in author order, so oldest to most recent. And Tukaram was born in an area of India, and he was exposed to both Hindu and Muslim cultures, so he's got a blending of both of those. But I love this one. It's titled, First He Looked Confused. I could not lie anymore, so I started calling my dog God. First, he looked confused. Then, he started smiling. Then, he even danced. I kept at it. Now he doesn't even bite. I am wondering if this might work on people. So this week, we can ask ourselves, how much do I practice love as a sacred path to my divine revelation? Am I loving and honoring myself? Am I loving and honoring others? And can I forgive those who have done harm? And can I see them as God expressing? And this morning, I normally do my insight timer with just a timer going, but on Sundays, I'm a little short on time. And so I've been doing meditations. And this morning, I did a meditation based on I believe it's a Buddhist practice. Which always reminds me of the song, so I'm moving the song out of the way. And maybe I'll end with a little song as Michael's going, yeah. But I invite you to take a deep breath, and if you feel comfortable, you can go within. And many of you may be familiar with this. I wish myself I am safe. I wish myself to be safe. I am happy. I am free from suffering. I live my life with ease. I invite you to think of a loved one, someone easy to love. I wish you to be safe. I wish you to be happy. I wish you to be free from suffering. May you live your life with ease. And now, think of a neutral person, maybe a coworker, somebody you interact with, you're not invested in. They don't trigger you one way or another. May they be safe. May they be happy. May they be free from suffering. May they live their life with ease. And finally, think of a difficult person. And I used our president this morning when I was doing this. But a difficult person for you. May they be safe. May they be happy. May they be free from suffering. May they live their life with ease. All right, do you want me to sing the song? This is a song that we did, that one of the members in Santa Rosa wrote from the One Heart Choir. I was a member of the choir the year before I moved away. And it goes I, you, we. So that's the order, and you can join along as you figure it out. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. So choosing love is a daily commitment. I think of it as always asking, what would love do? Peace and blessing.
Right.
Let's bring that to prayer. Knowing that there is only one spirit, one divine love, expressing itself in, as, and through all of life. I know that we are the love that God is. That we are that infinite, unconditional light that shines brightly in this world. And that as we allow our light and our love to shine, we know that this light and love spreads peace. It spreads joy. In this time where the world is challenged, in this time where the world is experiencing division, we know that in this love that there is only one, that there is no separation, and that whatever is happening on that side of the world is happening on this side of the world as well. That those astronauts heading to the moon, to slingshot around the moon, just like they do on TV shows, they're doing the slingshot thing. I know that they are blessed and they are spreading love and that they are safe, that they are well. I know that every conflict on this planet right now is paused. As we remember peace, as we remember love, we are that. And we know that we are each that pebble in the pond that spreads ripples out into the world that we may never see and know. We may never see and know the shores on which those ripples touch, but we know that each and every moment that we show up as love, that we elevate this planet. And so I am grateful. I'm grateful for the remembering. I'm grateful for everyone who says yes. Yes to this practice of being love. And so from this place of gratitude, I release this word into the law of yes and more, knowing it is so. And so it is.
Anybody know the song?
Yes.
Into the Mystic?
Yep.
We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. Ere the bonnie boat was won, as we sailed into the mystic. Hark now, hear the sailors cry. Smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. And when that far home blows, we'll be coming home. And when that far home blows, I want to hear it. Don't have to fear it at all. in the days of old. Then magnificently we will float into the crystal. When that foghorn blows, you know I will be home. When that foghorn whistle blows, I gotta hear it. Don't have to hear it. You know I'm gonna rock your gypsy soul. Just like way back in the days of old. And together we will float into the mystic. And together we will float into the mystic.
Oh, very
Well, thank you all for being here today. I wish you all a happy Easter. Thank you for continuing to support CSL in Tucson. And I think we're thinking about a meeting next week. Are we? I don't know.
a community meeting around the was it the 12th or the
Which is next week.
Next week is the 12th.
okay?
Yeah, and then just a little update about where we are with the wall, with teaching chapter versus a center. And in the newsletter last week, we did post kind of Reverend Nan's position on the ideas. And so I printed that out in case you missed the newsletter. There's copies of that back there. We are being pointed to a teaching chapter. This is what you should do.
Very strongly.
Very strongly. So that will be included. We'll be pulling together an annual meeting. The 19th, we are planning on our membership meeting, our class, and the bookcase got moved out of the classroom.
Yes.
Did we sell that?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to set up the classroom, and I think we'll have the class there because people are expressing, and I have, I want to start using the space and start living there. So I think we'll do that, and we'll also have that on Zoom immediately after service next week, the meeting part of it. So I think that's all the announcements that I have. Again, thank you for supporting the center. There's a donation basket in the back. There are ways to tithe through our website, which we are talking to our web guy finally and getting that updated. And there's text to tithe. Everything is in the bulletin. If you aren't here for the bulletin, it's I can't see it. Okay, so let's affirm our gratitude. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now. So
Stand up with me, please. Except for Chris, you can stay seated. I release and I let go. You know this one. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. And with my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. Spirit. Yes, I'm